Hello and you're welcome to Business Highlights on Trust TV. On the show, we take a look at business developments for the week, as well as take a look at major policy decisions and how they affect the average Nigerian out there. My name is Chamun Dabeng and I'll be your host. Let's talk numbers. Now, in a shocking turn of events, the National Economic Council has decided that Nigeria is not ready for fuel subsidy removal and has made the decision to suspend it. We'll be getting into that right after the break.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130.
A Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at English squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
You're welcome back to Business Highlights on Trust Television. My name is Chamun Dabeng. Now, fuel subsidy has remained one of the most highly debated policies in Nigeria, with back and forth arguments as to when or why it should or shouldn't be removed. Now, it can be recalled that the federal government had made plans to finally put an end to fuel subsidy. However, the NEC has decided that it's not the right time for the country to suspend subsidy removal. Joining me in the studio today is public affairs analyst and business consultant Agaba Wilson. Agaba, you're welcome to the show. Now, it's not really a shocking thing to really see the government has now reneged on this decision, because we've been seeing a lot of this back and forth for the past few decades, when it comes to the issue of subsidy removal. But what do you make of the decision by the NEC? Do you agree with them saying that it's not the right time for Nigeria to be thinking about subsidy removal?
You see, the question is, what is your definition of the right time? Mm-hmm. Because we have had this conversation over and over again. We know that anytime we remove fuel subsidy, it's going to affect the life of the average Nigerian in certain ways, driven by certain activities, which is cost of transportation and cost of providing power for their daily activities and businesses. So, if we want to remove fuel subsidy, what should we do? How can we fix these two major areas in which the impact of fuel subsidy will be felt? Mm-hmm. Number one thing to do, put public transport infrastructures in place, which is something this administration could have started 7 years ago. Mm-hmm. By fixing trains, intra-city buses like we have in Lagos. Lagos could have improved more. We can have that in Abuja. In Abuja today, you don't have any public transport infrastructure. Hundreds of thousands of vehicles are driven into the city and out of the city every day. And we are signatories to the green earth policy, or the environmental, there's the reduction of carbon emission. I don't see how that adds up. We could have set up that. El-Rufai started it under the Obasanjo administration. As soon as he was out of the office, all the buses became stationary. And after that, we saw them handing it over to churches and for other private events. And I believe most of them are sold out by now. So these are areas in which you could have created a robust public transportation system, which will reduce the impact on city people who go to work every day. And then you can talk of improving power systematically and incrementally. You can identify the areas where power is needed more at what time, and consciously improve the supply. So that by the time you remove subsidy fuel will only be a thing that somebody needs because they want to feel bigger than others. Because if there's a comprehensive transport system to the town, why will I drive my car? So if I want to drive my car, I should feel free to go and buy fuel at 1,000 naira per liter. Is the government saying they have never been aware of this? Or are they saying they have been making effort in terms of public transport system that we have not been seeing? Or they are saying that we are not aware that at any point in time they are removing subsidy is going to affect the life of the people? So by coming out to tell us that, what palliative? How is the palliative going to... Anyway, let you tell me what the palliative is. What is the palliative?
Well, the palliative is supposed to, recently the government managed to secure a $800 million loan from the World Bank, which was supposed to be palliatives for the poor Nigerians. I remember, the first time that this regime tried to remove subsidy, there was supposed to be a 5,000 naira package going to the poor Nigerians. In this one, there wasn't really any specification as to how or, to who this money would be going to.
No, I'll listen to that publication.
Yes, but coming to the $800 million loan from the World Bank. Yes. Now, this money was gotten specifically to cushion the effects of subsidy removal. Now that it's been suspended, where does this money go? And I also want to, also bring your attention to this level of uncertainty when it actually comes to discussing the issue of subsidy removal, especially now that it's been suspended. Because you have the Minister of Finance saying, oh, if the next government decides that it's going to be removed by June, then it's going to be removed by June. If the next government decides they're not going to remove it by June, then it's not going to be removed by June. So there's a lot of uncertainty around the issue, and I'd like to know what you make of that.
Well, in the first place, the 800 million they got was supposed to be to cushion the effect of the first subsidy removal. And one of the major things they wanted to do with it was to distribute conditional cash transfer to 50 million Nigerians from 10 million households, which they claim to have the data. And that was going to the poorest of the poor. My question is, where are the poorest of the poor? Are they in cities? Or they are in villages? And if they are in villages, what is their daily activities like? Do they pay transport as much as the people in cities pay? So if you go and give them 5,000, if you check vaporized milk in the market, 350 grams is about 2,500. So 5,000 cannot even buy two. So how's that money supposed to change their life? And we have done conditional cash transfer before. Where did it get us? Inflation. So what we need to look at in that kind of money is to build this public transport system.
Yes.
To also look at setting up enterprises that will increase, say, food production. Also make these people who are poorest of the poor have access to some kind of job that they can do, so they are contributing economically to the country's development. And then that is also sustainable for a long time. And that is also something that can genuinely, sustainably take them out of poverty to somewhere. All right? Then I'm not trying to talk about fixing our refinery, because that is another story that we cannot finish telling. So what are you going to distribute 5,000 to do? And let's even come to the meat of it. Who is going to suffer the impact of transportation and food price hike immediately? Those who work in cities. Civil servants who go to work, who probably earn 30,000 naira minimum wages. We are going to see people like you working in this kind of organization whose salary is not in millions. Let me give you an idea of what transportation looks like for somebody living somewhere in Maraba today to come to town. It takes them an average of 450 naira to come to town and 450 naira to go back. So plus or minus, they are doing 1,000 on transport every day. Let's say the person finds food to eat somewhere at 250 naira. And then he eats 2 meals. That by miracle, if it is possible. The person will feed 500 naira a day. On transport, for 22 working days in a week, that person is going to spend 22,000 naira. On food, for 22 working days in a week, the person is going to spend 11,000 naira. If you put that together, that's about 33,000 naira. More than the minimum wage. How many people in this city earn more than 100 at the average? The people we call the middle class. So this is with the fuel subsidy in place. By the time you take it off, that transport could shoot to 2,000.
Yes.
So you see somebody who is earning 60,000 borrowing to come to work. So is that person that you need to subsidize transport for? The woman that goes to buy food from the interior villages and bring to town to sell, that is the woman you need to subsidize transport for, so that she doesn't need to increase her food price unnecessarily. So by giving money to the people in the village, it doesn't solve any problem for us. So where that money goes now is a subject for another day that we'll discuss. We'll watch the government and hear what they tell us about the money.
All right, so thank you very much for actually bringing out these calculations and actually breaking it down. That's the life of the average Nigerian out there and what they're probably spending. But let's take a look at, some other calculations. Now, the subsidy, the budget was provided for, ends in June, basically.
Yes.
So we have about 3 trillion naira, which was actually placed for, subsidy budget. And then already, now that they've suspended it, that means we now have to go back and revisit the same budget. Now, remember that we have a 10 trillion naira deficit.
Yes.
We have, we have the ways and means debt that is also sitting there, which is about, 30 trillion naira.
Yes.
And then taking a look at our public debt stock itself.
Yes.
Now, what happens at this point? Where would we eventually find ourselves? How do we now finance subsidy up until when the next regime decides to remove it?
Let me quickly throw in that your statistic again, that 96.2% of our revenue is already used for debt servicing. So we have about 3.8% of it available to us. Question is, can 3.8% take care of what we're about to take on now? So when I ask the question, when is the right time to remove subsidy? This is what I'm saying. If you're saying this is not the right time, how do you fund it? Does the subsidy actually get to the Nigerians for whom it is intended? We all know the answer to that. We have not been able to peg the actual figure that we consume every day for PMS. How then do we pay subsidy? How is subsidy transparent? If we are in the service of the people, we should learn to bring transparency into governance. We should at least think that there are people among the people that we govern that are not completely clueless. If we bring sincerity of purpose to what we do, we won't be here discussing all of this issue again. We have other countries that have petroleum like ours, and they are doing very well. Look at Saudi Arabia, look at Qatar, look at some other countries. They are doing very well because there's sincerity of purpose. So to say that this is not the right time to remove subsidy, yes, we don't want to suffer that bad effect. But when is going to be the right time? When are you ever going to start putting those things that should be put in place so that it will be the right time to remove subsidy? Question is, how are you going to raise revenue to meet your expenses when those in political positions have refused to cut down their earnings? In fact, we have been having issues with the National Assembly where their remuneration has never been made public. And we have been asking, how much are you paid, sir? Let's know what your bills are.
And no answer.
There have not been any answer to that.
All right.
And we have a lot of political appointees that the political officers have the liberty to take on without any check and balances. So much money is going to go out in that way. So how do we balance it? I agree. Nigerians cannot take another load of cost coming from them with electricity being hiked and all other things.
All right, so we'll take a short break, and when we get back, I want to take a look at the PIA and some of the provisions that it actually made for subsidy removal. All right, so we'll be right back.
That's great. It's good to see you.
You're welcome back to Business Highlights on Trust TV. My name is Chamunda Beng, and I'm still here with public affairs analyst and business consultant Agaba Wilson Agaba. And we're taking a look at a subsidy removal. As we said earlier on, the National Economic Council has made the decision to suspend subsidy removal by June. And they're extending it to only God knows when, really. It could be the next 1 year, the next 3 months, the next
or until
5
another
years.
Administration in
You know,
4 years or
there's
8
really
years.
no certainty around it. Now, I would like to take a look at the Petroleum Industry Act and their provisions for subsidy removal. Now, this gave about 18 months. We're currently in the 13th month and getting very close to that mark. And we're still here debating. Let me, know what you actually think about this. Or is there some sort of confusion as to what we're supposed to be doing and the plans that we're actually supposed to be making beyond palliatives?
See, the truth is that for a long time, I haven't seen sincerity of purpose, conscious drive towards achievement of goals on the part of our government. For a long time, we pushed for the signing into law what we now call the Petroleum Industry Act, when it was the Petroleum Industry Bill. And then it took time for us to prune it down, do some specifics so that some aspect of it can be signed into law. When we were preparing this bill, did we not understand what we set out that the bill should do? I'll tell you we did. So when we wanted the bill to be passed into law, did we not have a program in place to help the bill be activated truly? If we don't have that, then I will say we are not serious. If we had that and we have not implemented it, then I will say we are deliberately sabotaging ourselves. So, if the bill has stated subsidy has to be removed, because what the bill did was to make NNPC and its affiliate and subsidiary a commercial company, no longer a social company, whose first interest is to ensure that the life of the people is better. We have changed it to something that is going to make profit. And it cannot make profit if it keeps subsidizing. So we ought to have put a mechanism and strategy in place to ensure that all of these things can be implemented. Where is the report on what we have put in place and how far we have gotten with that? For us to say we are not ready, it means we didn't even start implementing any processes that will help us fully actualize the PIA. We are 13 months into it. We are saying we are not ripe for subsidy removal. Are we setting aside the PIA? Are we going to go back to the National Assembly to do a new law to set it aside?
What does this move right now by the NEC mean for the next administration, the incoming administration? Because at this point, they've reneged on this decision.
Yes.
Meaning that they are the ones that have to come in and actually deal with this issue.
Well, basically, number one, it puts another financial burden on the incoming administration. When I say financial burden, it means where do we find this amount of money to sponsor this extra subsidy? That's on the one side. On the other side, it put the new administration in a very stringent position between the law and what they think is right. The law says after 18 months, there should be no subsidy. So are you going to recoil a new name and have a new program of subsidy that is detached from the Petroleum Industry Act? How are you going to do that? So it's going to put them in a very strong place, a very delicate place for them to think of what to do. So they are going to hit the ground with a lot of things. But I know it's the same party, so there should be some continuity. And I'm sure before the Executive Council came out, they probably have discussed this with the Transmission Committee, or what is it called, the Handover Committee. Yes. They both have the sitting government and the incoming government have their committees that are working hand in hand. So they probably have discussed this and they have come to an agreement on it. Right, so I wouldn't think it's a big issue for them.
Part of the PIA is the full deregulation of the sector.
Yes.
Now, with the price disparities, do we really have, true deregulation, or are we really looking at, or a proper regulation at this point? Yes.
what we have is not a proper regulation. We are not even regulating anything. And this is why most Nigerians, if you go to the street now, even the poor ones are saying, remove this subsidy, let's rest. Because in December, I traveled to Benue State. In Abuja here, I was able to buy fuel for 194 naira per liter. In Benue State, the cheapest I saw was 300 naira per liter. In the state capital, Makurdi, I saw for 320 naira per liter. Not in a mushroom
So
filling
where is the
station.
regulation?
So where is the regulation? In Otukpo, for instance, 320, 300. Where is the regulation? I'm using this as a case study. I'm sure if you ask every other person now, they will tell you different prices in their own states. So what are we regulating? So where is the subsidy money going? If you can't force people to sell at the price that is regulated, then why are you paying people for them to sell at a given price? So it makes us want to see that some people that you're actually dashing them money.
It now really brings to light the question, or brings to, to the fore the question of why really is there a subsidy? If at the end of the day, there's no regulation for these prices.
You can't regulate it. You are not even making any effort, to my own knowledge, to regulate it properly. Because we have seen that. You just move out of Abuja now to the outskirts and you see people selling above the regulated price. If you need us to report to a particular, make it public. And you will see the barrage of reports that will come about people flouting the regulated prices everywhere. And nothing is done to nobody.
Now, there is a really big issue with the subsidy removal at this point. And Nigeria basically has found itself between the devil and the deep blue sea. You take away subsidy removal, we have the Labour parties, Labour that is coming out to say, we don't want this because it's going to put a burden on the poor Nigerians. And you also have the government saying, oh, but we're losing money. So where is there a workaround with this issue?
There is a simple workaround. But the government has refused to work around. What they want is to always put it so that you can pity them. You can empathize with them. Oh, they are in a difficult place. There is no need to be in a difficult place. When Labour come out and say, we don't want fuel subsidy removal, the reason they are saying that is because of the cost that will be transferred to their people. And I have given you a solution. Where is the first source of cost? Transportation. As they go to work and come back every day. Where is the next source of cost? Food items and other consumables. And why will the price of those ones go up? Because people who produce it use power. And most time they use petrol to generate power using their generator. People who sell it use generator to generate power. And people who bring it from one point to the other use transportation to bring it. These are the things that enter into their cost. So if you can show the NLC, Nigeria Labour Congress, I think that's what they are. If you can show the NLC that you have a program in place that have already taken away that cost, why would they argue with you? And can we significantly take away that cost? Yes.
But do you think that Labour is being overly sensitive towards the issue? Are the real benefits of, subsidy removal being presented to them? Is there some sort of, ignoring aspect to it?
For two to work together, they must agree. And for them to agree, they each have to compromise. And they each have to show commitment to what they agreed to do. If you look at the government, what has the government done to show commitment to this cause? So the government is saying, if we remove subsidy, we can put that money in a refinery. We can put that money in infrastructure. We can put that money in this. But we are telling you, sir, where is a robust public transport system that allows us to share a comfortable and cheap transport system that does not need you to subsidize? You will, in fact, make money from that to put in infrastructure. So why don't you start with that low-hanging fruit? And let me tell you, Chairman, the government does not need to put its own money in doing this transport system. If you take Abuja, for instance, and you want to build a robust transport system in Abuja now, you need to just come up with a very robust business model. And you can bring private individuals into this. and government can buy a stake in it. You can decide to even float a transportation company in the market and raise money from the exchange market. And then you can put this in place. You will make money. People will transport at a cheap rate. We can even decide to have some alliance with the transmission company and use electric buses. We have the Nigeria Automobile Development Company, or what it is, the one that this Suleiman guy heads. They designed their electric vehicle, and it's fine. Why can't the government invest in such money? So we can have long buses moving from the outskirts, say Abaji, Kaduna Road, Kefi to Abuja, every morning, here and there. We can have light trains coming from even Lokoja, coming from Lafia, coming from Kaduna to Abuja. And people hop into this vehicle, they can do 3 trips in the morning, 3 trips in the evening. And then the big buses can be doing all of that. And when you come to town, Abuja is properly planned. We can have taxis moving from one end of town to the other. You can share it according to bus stop to them.
But then there's
all of us will pay little amount of money. It will not only create job, it will create revenue for the government, and it will help us improve security because everybody can be checked at one point or the other. Do you want to talk about issues of people stealing money from the company? Technology has so improved that we can use card system for payment, and cash does not have to be involved. All we need to do is to look out for solutions. There are people willing to give you the solution for free. Are you willing to listen? So I don't blame Labour when they say we are standing our ground, because there are low-hanging fruits that you could have taken to show Labour that I'm doing something.
All right, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we do not have, a lot of time. But I do agree there is a need to develop public transportation in Nigeria and make life, easier for the average Nigerian out there. Not everyone can afford, to just splurge money on, going from point A to point B. We can't do that. All right, we've come to the end of our show for today, and I would like to thank my guests in the studio. Thank you so much, public affairs analyst and business consultant, Agaba Wilson. Agaba, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having
me. And to our viewers out there, thank you so much for watching. Please do remember to follow us on our social media platforms. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We're literally everywhere. Just look up Trust TV News. Well, my name is Chamun Dabeng. Come back again. Let's talk numbers.